guys, and welcome back to Hummingbird Acres. Today we are going to tackle, we're going to start to tackle this pollinator garden. We brought down a lot of the plants from our homestead in Maryland, and we are going to get them planted in this garden. As you can see behind me, I have started to lay everything out. We might tweak that a little bit, but we are going to go ahead and get started. So we are planting this pollinator garden in landscape mesh. The main reason because it is so big. So the way we plant in landscape mesh is I have a template. These are only like maybe 2 or 3 inch holes. So they're not big enough for all of these plants, but we'll make it work today. And then I use a Bernzomatic to basically melt a hole.
Wow.
Let it cool down a little bit. And then opening this up, and then I have a hole to plant in. Now, this is just a lilac bush, so it's still small. We just got these the other day. So they're still small. So this will definitely fit in this hole. Now, the bigger ones I'll have to do bigger holes for, but this is perfect. You know what I probably need?
What?
A bucket.
A bucket? I can get it. No. Go ahead, Mary.
Marisol, do you want to go? They're up by there's a bucket up by the trees. Do you want to go get one?
No, it's deep. A little deep.
All right, so this one is just a bare root, and it has some extra soil in it. So I'm gonna dump that in there. Oops, making a mess.
And we're gonna put more soil.
Actually, this needs to be lower.
And we're gonna pour
This root ball is right there on the top.
We're gonna put same dirt, and it's gonna grow like plants. Well, plants always grow. Yeah, always plants.
So there we have it, our first plant in our pollinator garden.
Yay!
All right, I'm gonna do the other lilac because it is small. So we're gonna move over one. All right, this lilac is a little bit bigger. So what I'm gonna do is I will do the initial hole with the Bernzomatic, and then I'll do holes around it.
Where did I put it?
Well, I need you to move for me.
This?
On this trip, when Jamie took all of the plants down, he also put down my small collection of peonies that I have. These peonies, a couple of them were ones that my mom had, and we just kind of moved them around the homestead here. Never really found a good spot for them. And then every year I buy 1 or 2 more bare root peonies in the spring or in the fall. So I think I'm up to 6 or something like that. And I had really debated, I really wanted to put them in the main garden area and use them for cut flowers in the main garden area. But there are 6 or so of them, and to be honest with you, I don't think any of them have ever bloomed with them being in pots. So we did move them into pots about, I don't know, 2 years ago. We started planting them all in pots, and none of them have really ever bloomed being in the pot. So I really just didn't want them to be in a pot another year, and the garden area was just not going to be ready in time for them this year. So I was like, you know what? We'll just put them in the pollinator garden. They'll be good for the ants. The ants will love them. And then when we go to do the cut flowers, if we want more for cut flowers, then we will plant a section of peonies in the cut flower garden. So decided to plant them in this garden, and they're just going to go down the edge of the garden. Now, since I planted all of these and got back to Maryland, I found another peony that actually forgot and didn't make the trip down to Virginia. So I have that one to add to this line. And then when I have been going to Nana's house and packing up her house to move, I've also been cleaning out the yard, and she had 3 peonies at her house. 2 of them were in a pot and 1 of them was in a flower bed. So I dug the one up in the flower bed and put that one in a pot to take down. And then the other 2 were also in pots. One is huge and it's in the pot, and there was no way I could transplant it twice. So I just brought the pot, even though the pot is a little bit damaged, but I just brought the pot anyway. And then the other one, it wasn't doing too well in the pot, but I dug it out anyway. And I actually, when I was digging out one of the other ones, I actually broke part of that one. So I put the really small one and the bigger one in the same pot. If they both live, then when I take them down to the acres in May, I'll plant them in 2 separate holes. That way they have plenty of room to grow and do what they need to do. But I was actually very surprised about how many peonies we actually had. It was a good surprise, and I can't wait to check on these and really see if they bloom or not. Like, I really hope that we do get some blooms off of them. Like I said, the ones that were my mom's, I don't think I've ever seen them bloom. So that would be kind of cool. Or if I did, I was a kid when I saw them bloom. So can't wait to see them, and hopefully they like this spot. And like I said, we will just add more when we are ready to add more to the cut flower farm. Another plant I brought down on this trip, as you can tell, the theme of this trip or this video is really just planting all of the plants that we brought down. I brought down hundreds, or my aunt will probably tell you thousands, of daffodils. So in our homestead in Maryland, my mom had daffodils that had actually been moved on the property to different places as the landscape changed, as flower beds moved, as they expanded. We would move the daffodils around. The last time I moved them was, I guess, 2 years ago. I did a video on it. I will link that below for you. But I moved them and I planted them in front of our fence. I planted them in the front yard in front of the fence that into our backyard. And I did 2 long rows all the way down the fence line. And just now, in year 2 of them being there, they are really starting to look like how I had envisioned it in my mind, which was like these 2 really thick rows of daffodils just in full bloom, just like letting everyone know that spring was coming. And so this year, they are definitely in full bloom and they are looking awesome. Now, I wanted something similar in Virginia, and I think my plan is still to dig up all the daffodils that we have here and do the same thing, take them down. But when you come into our neighborhood here in Maryland, there is a huge patch. I mean, like huge patch of daffodils on a lot that has been abandoned for years and years and years. I mean, I don't even think when I was a baby, I don't even think there was a house there. So what was there years and years ago. So I stopped one morning and I dug up a few clumps of daffodils, and then put them in a box and took them down to the acres. And I really, like I said, wanted that really long line of really thick daffodils. And my initial thought was to put them on the side of the pollinator garden. We are going to fence the pollinator garden in. And the one side of the fence will be like a white picket fence, good for pictures. And my thought was like, I really wanted to plant them along that fence line. Well, along that fence line is a lot of gravel. It is a lot of big rocks. And I just knew the digging was going to be really, really hard. And the number of daffodils that we had to plant and that really hard digging was just not going to go very well. So when my aunt came over, my Aunt Tony, who lives in Lynchburg, we talked about where to plant these, and we decided that we would plant them down the property line, kind of next to like where the woods of the line starts. So we got to work, and I dug a trench 4 to 6 inches deep, and then Tony and the kids put daffodils in every 4 to 5 inches. And at first I thought, okay, I'd probably get like halfway down. And I actually got probably twice as far as I thought I would. So we probably planted thousands of daffodils. And I'm so excited. This is going to look, next spring it's going to look good. But then the spring after that, year 2 and year 3, this is going to be absolutely beautiful. And I actually have more daffodils on the property. They are a different variety that I'm planning on doing another line, either behind it or in front of it, and planting that variety. So we'll have like these 2 really long lines of daffodils just to look at, or maybe eventually we will sell them as cut flowers in the spring. But we planted thousands of daffodils. I don't know if Tony really realized what she had gotten herself into when she agreed to help me plant these daffodils, but we had so much fun. And I have to say, this was probably my favorite project that we did over spring break, and mainly because everybody was involved. Tony helped. All 4 kids were helping. They either were putting the daffodils in the ground or they were covering them up. And even like Henley took turns digging the trench along with Hunter for these daffodils. So hands down, this was my favorite project on the acres so far in the spring. And I cannot wait until next year when all of these come up and we actually get to see them in bloom. I don't know how many will actually bloom, but hopefully a few will, and we'll just get to see them. It's going to be a great addition to the homestead and a great like first flower on the homestead, because I do think this property overall is lacking color, and this will be a great pop of color in the spring, and I cannot wait. So this video is, I think, video 3 in our mini series of all the things that we did on the homestead during our spring break while we were down there. I will link the first 2 videos in the series below. Make sure that you follow and you subscribe so that you can see the next video in the series, which will be all about us starting our main orchard on the homestead. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us at the farmhouse today. We hope that you are having an amazing day, and we will talk to you soon.